I thought my billionaire boss would fire me for the bruises on my face. Instead, he looked at me, dialed a number, and calmly ordered my husband's execution. I screamed, begging him to stop, until he played me the recording. My husband was not just beating me. He had just sold our 7-year-old daughter to the cartel for $40,000 to pay a gambling debt. Suddenly, I did not want to save him anymore. I wanted to watch him burn. The elevator doors slid open with a soft, expensive chime that sounded like judgment. Amara stepped into the penthouse, her head ducked low, her shoulders hunched in a posture she had perfected over the last 3 years, the posture of someone trying to be invisible. She was late. Only 10 minutes, but in Kong Min-ji's world, 10 minutes was an eternity. In the 6 months she had cleaned his Century City apartment, she had never been late, never left a streak on the floor-to-ceiling windows, and never, ever let him see her fear. Today, however, the fear was written in purple and black across her left cheekbone. She moved quickly toward the kitchen, hoping to grab the supplies and disappear into the guest bedroom before he emerged from his office. The penthouse smelled of teakwood, cold air, and the faint, metallic scent of ozone that always seemed to cling to Min-ji. It was a sterile kingdom, a place of sharp angles and shadows, much like the men who owned it. "You late." The voice came from the living room, deep and smooth, vibrating through the silence. Amara froze. She had not heard him. She had not heard footsteps on the marble. He was just there, sitting in his high-backed leather chair, a glass of amber liquid resting on the side table. He was not looking at her, his gaze was fixed on the sprawling Los Angeles skyline, a smoggy grid of desperation far below his ivory tower. I apologize, Mr. Kong," Amara stammered, keeping her face turned away, her hair falling like a curtain to shield the left side of her profile. "Traffic on the 405. It would not happen again. I'll work extra fast. Turn around." It was not a request. Min-ji did not make requests. He gave orders, and the world rearranged itself to obey him. Amara's heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. If he saw the bruise, he would ask questions. If he asked questions, he would find out about Marcus. And if he found out about the messiness of her life, the chaotic, violent reality she went home to every night, he would fire her. She could not lose this job. The pay was triple the standard rate. It was the only thing keeping the roof over Zara's head. "Mr. Kong, I really need to get started on the, Amara." He stood up. The sound of his suit jacket shifting was deafening in the quiet room. "Look at me." She squeezed her eyes shut for a second, inhaling a shaky breath, and turned. Min-ji stood 10 feet away, a silhouette against the blinding afternoon sun. As he stepped forward, the light hit his face, handsome, severe, with eyes so dark they looked like inkwells. He stopped. His expression did not change, not a muscle twitched in his jaw, but the air in the room suddenly grew heavy, charged with a terrifying static. He crossed the distance between them in 3 long strides. He did not touch her. He just looked. His gaze traced the swelling under her eye, the split in her lip that she had tried to cover with cheap concealer, the faint tremor in her hands. "Who?" he asked. The word was soft, barely a whisper, but it carried the weight of a falling guillotine. "I fell," Amara lied, the automatic defense slipping out. "I was rushing to get Zara ready for school and I tripped over, do not lie to me." His voice dropped an octave, turning into a low growl that vibrated in her bones. He stepped closer, invading her personal space, his scent of expensive cologne and danger wrapping around her. "I tolerate many things, Amara. Lying is not one of them. You did not fall. That is a contusion caused by a blunt impact, likely a fist." "Who did this?" Amara trembled. She looked at his hands, large, capable, deadly. Rumors surrounded Kong Min-ji. The other maids at the agency whispered that he ran half the underworld west of the Mississippi, that the legitimate businesses were just a thin veneer over an empire of violence. Standing this close to him, feeling the radiation of his suppressed rage, she believed every word. But she also saw something else in his eyes. It was not pity. It was a cold, focused intent. "If I tell you," she whispered, her voice cracking, "I'll lose this job. You do not want drama. You pay for silence and cleanliness. I pay for loyalty, Minji corrected. He raised a hand, and for a terrifying second, she flinched. He froze, his eyes narrowing as he watched her reaction. Slowly, deliberately, he lowered his hand and placed it on the counter behind her, boxing her in without touching her. I am asking you one last time. Give me a name. The choice hung in the air, suspended and suffocating. She could lie again, get fired, and go back to the apartment where Marcus was waiting, angry and drunk. Or she could give this dangerous man the truth and pray it did not destroy her. She looked at the bruise on her wrist, a matching set to the one on her face. She thought of Zara, hiding under the bed this morning when the shouting started. Marcus, she breathed. My husband. Minji did not blink. He did not sigh. He did not offer a platitude about domestic violence hotlines or police reports. He simply nodded, once, as if confirming a weather report. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a sleek black phone. He dialed a number, bringing the device to his ear, his eyes never leaving Amara's face. It's me, Minji said into the phone. His tone was conversational, bored even. I have a name. Marcus Williams. Address is 442 Elm Street, apartment 4B. Find him. Remove him. Make sure it's permanent. The room spun. Amara gripped the granite countertop, her knuckles turning white. The words echoed in her mind, bouncing off the pristine walls. Remove him. Permanent. What? She gasped, the sound torn from her throat. Minji hung up the phone and slipped it back into his pocket with a casual fluidity that made her stomach churn. He looked at her, his expression unreadable, as if he had not just sentenced a man to death while standing in his living room. You said, you just... Amara could not finish the sentence. The reality of what she had done crashed over her. She had come here to clean floors, and instead, she had just unleashed a monster on the father of her child. Yes, Marcus was cruel. Yes, he hit her. But death. Execution. You see not do that. It's done, Minji said simply. He walked past her toward the kitchen island, pouring himself a glass of water. You came to me injured. I removed the source of the injury. Problem solved. He's a human being. Amara screamed, panic overriding her fear of Minji. She pushed away from the counter, her legs shaking. You see not just kill people because they beat you until you bleed. Minji turned, the glass in his hand steady. I can, and I do. Men like that are not human beings, Amara. They are parasites. I just called the exterminator. I have to stop this. She scrambled for her purse, her fingers fumbling with the strap. I have to call him. I have to tell him to run. Minji set the glass down. The sound of crystal hitting granite was sharp, like a gunshot. You will do no such thing. You do not own me. Amara cried out, backing toward the elevator. I did not ask for this. I did not ask you to be my hitman. I just wanted to do my job. You asked for help the moment you walked into my sanctuary with his mark on your face, Minji said, his voice dropping to that terrifyingly calm register again. He began to walk toward her. He moved like a predator, smooth and inevitable. You think you can go back? You think you can call him, warn him, and he'll thank you. He'll kill you for bringing my attention to him. I do not care. Amara reached the elevator and jabbed the button frantically. He's Zara's father. I see not be responsible for his murder. The elevator did not open. The panel remained dark. I locked it, Minji said, stopping 5 feet away from her. You are not leaving. Amara felt the walls of the penthouse closing in. The luxury suddenly felt like a prison cell. She had traded a domestic tyrant for a crime lord. She had thought Minji was just a wealthy, aloof businessman with a dark reputation, but the man standing before her was death personified. Please, she begged, tears spilling over her lashes and stinging the cut on her cheek. Let me go. I will not tell anyone. I'll take Zara and we'll leave the city. Just call your men off. No. Why are you doing this? She sobbed, sliding down the wall until she hit the floor, burying her face in her hands. I'm nobody to you. I'm just the help. Why ruin your life for me? Because you are not just the help, Minji said. He crouched down in front of her. For the first time, she saw a crack in his icy mask, a flash of raw, burning anger that was not directed at her, but for her. And because you have no idea what you are actually running home to. I know he hits me, Amara whispered into her palms. I know it's bad. But I can handle it. I've handled it for 3 years. You are handling a sinking ship, Amara. And today, the water reached the ceiling. Minji reached out and took her wrists, pulling her hands away from her face. His grip was iron hard, inescapable. You think I ordered his death because he hit you? I have killed men for less, yes. But Marcus earned a special kind of hell today. Amara looked up, confusion warring with her terror. What are you talking about? Minji stared at her, his dark eyes searching hers, looking for the strength he knew was buried somewhere beneath the trauma. I did not just see the bruise and make a call, Amara. I have been watching. My security team monitors everyone who enters this penthouse. Background checks. Surveillance. We tapped your husband's phone weeks ago because I did not like the way you flinched when I walked into a room. He released one of her wrists to pull his phone back out. He tapped the screen a few times and held it up to her face. Listen. Amara stared at the screen. It was an audio file, recorded only 2 hours ago. She saw the timestamp. It was right after she had left the apartment to come here. She hesitated, her breath catching in her throat, but Minji's expression was unyielding. She nodded. He pressed play. The voice was unmistakably Marcus. It was slurred, thick with whiskey and bravado, the voice she heard in her nightmares. Yeah, I got the girl. She's 7. Pretty little thing. Takes after her mother. Amara's blood turned to ice. A second voice, scratchy and distorted, replied. The debt is 40,000, Marcus. You do not have it. I'm telling you, the kid is worth more than that, Marcus said, and Amara could hear the smile in his voice, the sickening, desperate sound of a gambler trying to play his last chip. She's young. Clean. You got buyers overseas, right? I do not ask questions. You take the debt, you give me another 10 grand in cash, and you pick her up from school at 3 p.m. I'll report her missing tomorrow morning. The mother is stupid, she'll believe anything I say. 3 p.m. That's in 20 minutes, the other voice said. Done. Do not be late. The recording ended. Silence crashed back into the penthouse, louder than any scream. Amara sat frozen on the floor, her mind refusing to process what she had just heard. It was not possible. Marcus was violent, he was selfish, he was a monster, but Zara? His own daughter. He would not, she whispered, but the lie tasted like ash. She knew he would. She remembered the way he looked at Zara lately, not with love, but with calculation. The way he complained about the cost of feeding her. The gambling debts that had swallowed their savings, then their furniture, then her jewelry. He would, Minji said, his voice devoid of pity, sharp as a scalpel cutting out the infection. And he did. The deal was struck at 12:45 p.m. My men intercepted the call. Amara scrambled up, her fingernails clawing at Minji's shirt. What time is it? Oh my God, what time is it? It is 2:15 p.m., Minji said, catching her hands to stop her from scratching him. Calm down. Calm down. He's selling my daughter. She shrieked, struggling against his grip, feral panic taking over. I have to get to the school. I have to, Amara. Minji shook her once, hard enough to snap her head back, forcing her to look at him. Listen to me. If you go there, the buyers will see you. They are cartel associates. They will kill you, take the girl, and disappear before the police even pick up the phone. Then what do I do? She wailed, collapsing against his chest, her strength gone. Please, Minji, please save her. I already have, Minji said, his voice vibrating against her ear. Why do you think I made the call? Amara pulled back, staring at him with wide, tear-filled eyes. The pieces of the puzzle slammed together. The execution. The casual order. You. My men are not at your apartment, Minji said, his eyes hard and blazing. They are at the elementary school. They have been there since 1 p.m. They picked up Zara quietly. She is currently in the back of an armored SUV, eating ice cream and watching cartoons, on her way here. Amara sobbed, a sound of pure, agonizing relief. She is safe. She is safe, Minji affirmed. But Marcus. Marcus was going to meet the buyers at the rendezvous point. If he lives, he will come for her again. If he lives, the debt passes to you. If he lives, you will never sleep again. He released her arms and stepped back, straightening his cuffs. He looked down at her, the master of his universe once again. So I ask you again, Amara. Do you want to save him? Do you want me to call my men off and let Marcus explain to the cartel why he does not have the merchandise? Or do you want to be free? It was not a choice anymore. It was an awakening. Amara sat on the floor, the cold marble seeping into her legs, but she did not feel the chill. She felt the heat radiating from the men standing above her. For months, she had looked at Kong Minji and seen a villain, a man whispered about in dark corners, a man who built an empire on blood. She had feared him. But the law had not protected her. The police had told her it was a civil matter until Marcus put her in the hospital. Her neighbors had turned up the volume on their TVs to drown out her screams. The world had watched her drown. Only the villain had reached out a hand. She thought about Marcus selling Zara like a used car. She thought about the bruise on her face, the years of walking on eggshells, the diminishing light in her daughter's eyes. Amara slowly stood up. Her legs were steady now. She wiped the tears from her face with the back of her hand, smearing the blood from her split lip across her cheek. She looked at Minji, really looked at him. She saw the tension in his shoulders, the way he was waiting for her judgment, perhaps expecting her to call him a monster again. He was going to sell her, she said, her voice hollow but strong. Yes. And you made sure she is safe. You put your own people at risk for my daughter. She is a child. And she is yours. Minji said it as if that explained everything. As if belonging to Amara made Zara royalty in his eyes. Amara took a step toward him. The fear was gone, replaced by a dark, heavy clarity. Innocence was a luxury she could no longer afford. Survival required a different kind of currency, and Minji was offering to pay the bill. The order you gave, Amara said softly. Is it done? Minji held her gaze. Not until I give the final signal. I wanted you to understand why. Amara reached out. Her trembling fingers brushed the lapel of his expensive suit. She was staining his perfection with her blood, with the grime of her reality, but he did not pull away. He leaned into her touch, his eyes closing for a brief second as if he had been starving for this contact. Do not call them off, she whispered. Minji's eyes snapped open. He searched her face, looking for regret, but found only resolve. Are you sure? He asked low. There is no going back. Once you cross this line, you are part of my world. The blood does not wash off, Amara. My world was already bloody, she replied, tilting her chin up. At least in yours, my daughter is eating ice cream instead of being sold to strangers. Minji stared at her for a long moment, a mixture of pride and possession darkening his gaze. He lifted his hand and gently, so gently it made her heart ache, brushed his thumb over the bruise on her cheekbone. You will never be hurt again, he vowed. It was not a promise, it was a statement of fact. Anyone who touches you answers to me. He pulled his phone from his pocket. He did not look away from her as he tapped a single button. He did not say a word. He just put the phone back. It is done, he said. Somewhere in the city, on a dirty street corner, Marcus Williams had just ceased to be a problem. The news would report a mugging gone wrong, or perhaps a hit and run. It did not matter. He was gone. The shadow that had loomed over Amara's life for 7 years had vanished in the blink of an eye. The elevator chimed. Amara turned, her breath hitching. The doors opened, and a burly man in a dark suit stepped out, holding the hand of a small girl with braided hair and a chocolate-stained mouth. Mommy. Zara squealed, dropping the guard's hand and running across the expansive room. Amara fell to her knees, catching her daughter, burying her face in the small, warm neck. She cried, but they were not tears of fear anymore. They were tears of liberation. She held Zara tight, feeling the solid, beating heart against her own. She looked up over Zara's shoulder. Minji was standing there, watching them. He looked solitary, powerful, and dangerously beautiful. He was not the white knight from the fairy tales. He was the dragon. And he was hers. Amara stood up, lifting Zara into her arms. She walked over to Minji, closing the distance between her old life and her new one. She did not bow her head. She did not apologize. "Thank you," she said. Minji reached out, his large hand cupping the back of Zara's head protectively, his other hand resting on Amara's waist, claiming them both. "Welcome home, Amara," he said. And as the sun began to set over Los Angeles, painting the sky in shades of bruised purple and blood red, Amara realized he was right. She was not the maid anymore. She was the queen of a dark kingdom, and for the first time in her life, she was absolutely, terrifyingly safe.